To order, it's 6:35.
Recording in progress.
I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have the flag? Maybe. There we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we invite the public to comment, I would just like to share some of the requirements regarding public comment. Per bylaw 9325, at each regular meeting, the board shall receive comments from the public on matters that fall within the board's duties and responsibilities. The board values public comment as it provides an opportunity for members of the public to express their views to the board on matters within the board's authority. In order to ensure that everyone is allowed equal time to speak, comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. All speakers must maintain appropriate standards of decorum. No boisterous or inappropriate conduct is permitted. As noted in our bylaws, persistence in disruptive or inappropriate conduct shall be grounds for the termination of that individual's right to address the board. All comments must be directed to the board and not to any individual board member or any individual member of the administration. Public comment is your opportunity to convey your views, your views to the board. However, please note that public comment is not a question and answer session. The board and the administration will not be responding to questions or engaging in dialogue during the public comment period. Please understand that the board's silence in response to your comment does not mean that the board has not heard the comment, but rather it simply means that response at that time is not part of our procedure. The board and administration will determine when and how to address questions that arise during the public comment period, and the appropriate party will follow up if determined appropriate. Okay, now we will move on to public comments. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Andrew, you're back. Thank you.
Yeah, I tested this 15 or 20 minutes ago. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry about that.
There are 2 hands raised, Andrew.
Oh. I don't know how I even see that.
It's in the upper left corner of the person's image. One is Heather Hamilton and one is Dr. Hauser.
Whoever would like to go first. I don't see the hands, but how about Heather Hamilton?
Okay. Hi, I'm happy to go first. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. I do have a statement I would like to make regarding mask wearing in the schools for the kids.
And I would also interrupt you for 1 second, please. Could you just state your address for purposes of the record?
Sure. It's 78 Cider Mill Road.
Thank you.
Right in Bolton. Okay. And then after my statement, I actually have my 10-year-old son. He's very nervous, but he wrote something and he would also like to address you guys, if that's okay. So, okay, so I just wanted to make sure I covered everything that I wanted to say. So I would like to read it, just so you guys know. So I apologize for reading directly from my phone, but I just want to make sure I get all my points across. So I said, I was unable to attend the last meeting, and I would like to thank Andrew for reading my statement. I know that he did that, so I appreciate it very much. The emergency powers end on July 20th, and it's likely that it'll be up to the towns to decide what to do regarding mask wearing in the schools. I do believe that the members of this board truly want to do what's best for the children that they represent, and I'm urging you to dig deep and truly consider the long-term effects prolonged mask wearing will have on these children and ask yourself if it's really worth it. I want to start from a standpoint of pure safety. One of my sons has a severe life-threatening food allergy, and a large part of keeping him safe and alive is being able to see his face. With half of his face covered, will anyone really see if he's going into anaphylactic shock? Will they see the hives and the swelling forming on his face? Will they be able to see the labored breathing? I'm sorry about that. I was getting a phone call. Will they be able to see the labored breathing that he's having? My son's life depends upon astute observations when he is in the school's care, and the masks make that impossible. Next, I have some things that my kids would come home and say to me on a regular basis after school. Mommy, it's so hard to breathe. It's hard to see when I'm walking around with my mask on. I can't focus because I feel hot and dizzy. Sometimes my belly hurts because I feel so nervous, but I'm afraid to ask for a mask break. These are just a few of the things that my children have said to me time and time again throughout the last school year. I'm coming home with headaches, bloody noses, dehydration, and an overwhelming sense of feeling invisible behind the mask. Hear that again. My children feel invisible. They feel constant stress. Cortisol is the body's stress hormone. It's something your body naturally creates in response to stressful stimuli. Do you know what happens from prolonged production of cortisol? It ranges from depression, headaches, digestive problems, and even as far as heart disease. It wreaks havoc on the body. Do you truly expect these children to learn in that type of condition? The answer is no. Our society has been so caught up in the metrics the last 1.5 years, caught up in the numbers, but the damage we're inflicting on our kids sadly does not have a metric to measure, and it won't be seen until the damage is done. Their well-being has no metric that can be put on a graph from the DPH on a weekly basis, and as a result, our kids are being left behind and forgotten. I am not downplaying COVID or the seriousness of it. I have worked throughout this pandemic as a nurse, and I know full well the damage that it can cause. But I also know that children are not spreaders. They have a very low transmission rate. Vaccines are widely available, and our infection rate remains at 1%, even as mask wearing in the rest of the state has gone away. Fauci's emails said himself that they don't work. He said asymptomatic spreaders are not an issue. And there have been a number of studies done that show dangerous pathogens on our children's masks, even after they've been freshly washed. But the one thing that was not found on any of the masks were COVID. A number of towns have already stated masks will be optional come the fall, and I hope Bolton is on the right side of history when making its decision. I am tired of my children having to sacrifice for adults. It's backwards, and it's not how it should be. This is not a burden that my children should have to carry any longer, and I'm demanding parent choice. Let me decide what is best for my child. If parents want to continue to send their children to school in a mask, it should be their choice. If parents do not want to send their kids to school in a mask, it should be their choice. If teachers want to continue to wear a mask or don't want to wear a mask, it should be their choice. This is not a personal attack on any single person on this board, and I hope you can each look objectively and make the right decision. It is your duty to our kids. Thank you. Go ahead, Parker, you gotta introduce yourself, okay?
Hi, my name is Parker. I am 10 years old and a student at Bolton Center School. And the reason I'm here today is to tell you how hot it is inside the mask and how hard it is to breathe. It makes me feel distracted. My little brother was not allowed to drink enough water in class, and that gave him headaches and belly aches from the mask. But his teacher was able to drink water whenever she wanted. I think she should be able to. It's hot inside the mask all day, but so should my little brother. I want the mask requirement to be optional for all kids in the fall. Thank you for your time.
Good job, buddy.
Parker, I know we're not supposed to comment, but I got to tell you, I'm really proud of you. Very good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He was afraid everybody was going to be upset with him, so I told him that you guys would be proud of him for getting up here and being so brave.
Absolutely.
you.
That's why I had to say something, Parker. We're really proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying
Good
that.
job. Chair Brunel, I believe Dr. Hauser was the other person. who had a
Yeah, I
hand.
don't see any.
I don't see the hand either, but I don't either.
I'm still here.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're on mute.
Hold on one second. Apparently I'm on safe driving mode and I'm not driving. So, okay, typically I'm in my house on my laptop, but today I'm actually at an event. So there'll be noise in the background. I apologize ahead of time. Thank you for the time. I cannot agree with Heather more. I think that she and her son did a great job speaking. And I just want to ask the same thing. I'm asking that the Board of Ed and the Bolton Public School System proactively put out an official policy for fall that says masks are optional, subject to the government mandates. We've already had several towns that have dropped the mask mandate, subject to the Department of Health and the other mandates that Governor Lamont's got out. So just a few to name: Old Lyme, Wolcott, Southington, Ellington, East Hampton, Simsbury, Newton, Groton, Litchfield, Fairfield, and so many more have dropped the mask mandate and made it optional for families. I'm asking exactly what Heather's asking, that you give the parents the choice to make decisions, health decisions for their children again. I also want to bring up the new draft of the COS plan, if you will. The plan's still very vague, and I know that it is subject to change, etc. But you know, I just feel like there's a lot of the questions, even though they said my feedback was addressed and public comment was addressed, a lot of it was not very specific, and it still makes it very vague and difficult to understand what the rules are regarding that. So basically I'm asking that we say preemptively, as the Bolton Public School System, no to masks and allow parents to make that choice. As far as like the video presentations and stuff like that go, I know that there's nothing that you can do as far as answer my question now, but I would like to know from someone if these are the videos that are already located on the BPS website. And if not, then where are the rest of the videos for parents to view before their children see them? Again, the COVID vax was mentioned in the COS plan again. Is that something I would like an answer of whether or not that's going to be held in school? Will parents have the ability to opt their kids out? That wasn't addressed. And then like just some of the social distancing and stuff like that in the bathrooms, every other stall, like nobody's going to catch anything from another kid in another stall. It just seems overkill. Personally, I feel, but again, I'm a little distracted. I apologize. There's a lot going on in the background. So yeah, basically bottom line is I'm asking again that we drop the mask mandate, make it individual choice, revisit the COS plan, allow for some more public feedback with that, and get some answers to the questions that I had both last meeting and this meeting regarding the videos and such. Yeah. I thank you for the communications back and forth with me via email when I did have questions. I'm sorry if that upset some members that I'm new to this and I'm not sure how the process works. I'm still learning as well, but I'm definitely doing research and learning about how the Board of Ed functions, and I hope to be a bigger part of it soon. Thank you so much.
Marissa, could you please just state your address for purposes of the record?
Absolutely. 150 Bolton Center Road, Bolton.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I see there's a couple other people on here. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? I can't see hands, so you can go ahead and speak up if you so desire. I see a little tack on Mr. Maselli. What's that?
That means that I'm
All right.
recording the meeting, sir. That's all that means.
Oh, okay. Never noticed that one before. All right. Last chance. Going once, going twice. Thank you. Do you have any additions to the agenda tonight?
No, I do not.
Okay, we'll move on to routine business. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th, 2021 Board of Ed regular business meeting.
So moved.
Is that
Second.
Scott and Ann, was that who that was? Is there any edits or corrections to be made or conversation to the minutes of the June 9th business meeting? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the... Is that somebody? All those in favor of approving the minutes of June 9th, 2021 business meeting, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstaining? I think we were all here. That passes unanimously. Moving on to Board of Education Committee reports, curriculum.
Sorry, I'm trying to juggle my granddaughter. The curriculum committee met briefly. I forget the date. I apologize. It was the last week of my last week of school, so it was crazy. But basically to clear up some confusion over the transfer that was actually just a new addition of a text we previously used. So, anything you want to add, Chris? Or
That's perfect. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you very much. Finance.
So taking us back to the transfers, if I could, that we tabled at the last meeting. So as Sue just spoke about, it's just an updated version for this transfer. And the other transfers we had talked about at the last meeting. Any questions for me? Hearing none, then we'll need a motion, please.
Looking for a motion to approve the June transfers that we discussed at the last meeting and moved on for sake of the textbook to this meeting.
It will, yes, thank you.
Makes a motion.
The motion needs to be for May transfers though, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'll second the motion.
Why don't I just say, okay.
So we have a motion by Rhea and a second by Scott.
Questions, comments, or discussion on the May transfers? Chris, I think.
Kristen, I was second.
Chris seconded it.
I realized that right after I said it. Sorry, thank you.
Rhea and Chris, wasn't it? Yeah. Questions, comments, concerns, observations on the May transfers again. We did go over this last meeting, so expect there to be none. All those in favor of approving transfers, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Am I frozen or something?
Your voice is
Anyone
very
opposed?
chattery.
Andrew, you may want
Or
to try,
abstaining? I think that was
Andrew,
everyone.
Andrew, try stopping your video and
Moving
just
on.
talking.
Sorry, I'll try to move. Okay.
Actually, it sounded better already when you said, I'll try to move.
I want to look at me anyway. We've moved on. Do we have any community meeting reports for this month?
Yes, I can report.
Not hearing any. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. So the Bolton Scholarship Fund, I'm very happy to report, was able to fund $100,000 worth of scholarships this year for our graduating seniors. Those were announced at the graduation ceremony. 100,000 in a year of COVID is just astounding, and it's really thanks to several companies and many individuals in town digging deep in their pockets. I should give a special shout out to Simon Eyes, who typically has been donating $10,000 a year. This year they doubled their donation, which was amazing.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I would just like to say on behalf of all of the students and the staff, we want to thank the Bolton Scholarship Fund, to Chris and all of the members who did such an amazing job this year raising money. I think no one was really sure what would happen in these times, for sure. And the fact that $100,000 were raised and handed out to our students is nothing short of amazing and, quite frankly, heroic. And I want to thank all of you. Chris, if you would pass that along, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I will let the other board members know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'll turn things over to the superintendent for Superintendent of Schools report.
I do not have anything this evening because I covered it at our last meeting in June. So we want to move on to the letter of support for the ARP ESSER grant.
Is there no superintendent of schools report?
No, there is no report this evening, so we could move on to the letter of support for the ARP ESSER grant. We're having trouble hearing you, Andrew.
I'm gonna have to try and call in. I thought that
Okay.
the next thing on the agenda was the superintendent of schools report. And
It is.
that
It
followed by
is.
unfinished business, which was,
It is, but I do not have a report tonight.
oh, okay, I didn't hear that.
So I'm going to ask Mr. Maselli to put up a draft letter sent in by one of the board members, Rhea Klein, that might help expedite your conversation this evening based on the comments from the last meeting. And Andrew, do you want to turn it over to Sue while you call in, or are you good?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I've moved into the conference room, which is the closest place to the computers.
Okay, thank you. Rhea, would you like to speak to this?
I just quickly put together a very short letter just expressing the fact that we are supporting this grant. And I did make the change, Kristen, that you had recommended, and I sent it to you. And it says, it says that in the second paragraph, the continuity of services plan was developed by BPS with the support of the Highlands Health District. So I did change that and did send it to you. Thank you for the help. And so that is nothing fancy, but I just thought it would, I saw the other letters and they were very brief as well. So I think this is to the point.
Thank you, Rhea.
I just wanted to know, in the letter, I just asked, like, what do we do with this now? Now that you have it, will you type it up as you had done in other letters in the past?
Yes, I will. I'll put it on Board of Education letterhead, and then I'll send the board the PDF, and I will attach the PDF once the board determines if this is the route they want to go, and it will be attached to our grant application, as are the other letters that we have received.
Okay, so it would, I think it would be signed by Andrew, correct? On
Correct.
behalf of the board? Okay, I just didn't put any of that information in.
Kristen, could you tell us which groups have also submitted letters of support?
Absolutely. The first selectman and the town administrative officer, the Eastern Highlands Health District Director, the Bolton Education Association, the Teachers Union, and the PTA.
I have called in, so hopefully this is better. I'm also logged on the computer. I should mute. Are we looking for a motion in support?
Andrew, you either need to be on the computer or on the phone, but not both.
I'm sorry, I didn't have the computer on mute. Are we looking for a motion to, is it still not working?
No, it was better when you were on the computer. We're hearing an echoing noise.
Mr. Broneal, if you turn the volume of your computer down, that might solve the problem.
I just hung up. I'm on the computer only. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my question was, are we looking for a motion to support this? Do we want to support it by consensus? I know we had it as possible action required. I don't know that we need a motion. Maybe for purposes of formality, you would like it, or we could just discuss it and agree by consensus to send a letter. You have a strong feeling about it one way or other, Kristen?
I think Chris had a comment he wanted to make.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just as a procedural point, it might be best to make a motion, but then you could ask for unanimous consent if you didn't want to take a roll call vote.
I suppose we could just make a motion. I mean, it's in the end, it's the same thing. I don't know. Just want to kind of move along. So why don't we have a motion? Looking for a motion in support of sending a letter in support of our continuity of services plan on behalf of the Board of Education.
I'll make that motion and just specifically note that we are discussing the draft that was submitted by Ms. Klein.
Second.
Okay, do we have any, who would like to make comments or ask questions or have a discussion about the letter, the proposed letter, and or the plan itself?
I'm in support of Ria's letter.
I am also in support of the letter.
This is Ben, same.
I'd like to clarify that this letter is in support of the application for the grant. Is that correct? We're supporting the application for the grant, the SR.
Right, not, that was, I think, discussed during the last meeting, that what we were doing was supporting the grant application, and we weren't really talking about the contents of it.
Right, so I just want to make sure everyone's, that's what this letter is supporting, our application for the grant.
Yeah. It's the Bolton Board of Education supports the public schools application for funding. So basically, the letter starts off that way. I understood that we wanted to just.
Yes, no, I just wanted to make sure that, because it's not the way it was represented in the motion.
The wording seems to be accomplish our goal. It does not cast judgment on the plan itself. It makes a statement about the plan, but
right, I agree, but the motion did not wasn't the language that what this letter is about.
Yeah, and I think that's an important clarification, because as I understand our role, we really don't have, well, I mean, I suppose we do, but we're not being asked specifically to approve the, the individual paragraphs and action points within the plan itself, but rather the overall application. So I don't see this as taking a statement one way or another on, for example, the mask question. Or
I agree. I just want to make sure everyone understood what the intent of this letter was.
yeah, that's a good clarification.
So Scott, do you think that the motion should?
I think the motion was
be
incorrect.
amended?
Yes.
What
Because
would you-
I believe I heard the motion was in support of the continuity of service plan. And this discussion in this letter is supporting the application for the grant, of which this continuity of service plan is a requirement, as I understand it. But the continuity of service plan had to be in place regardless of whether we're going to go after this grant, as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my connection problems. I don't even now know what I said. I thought that I had threw the word letter in there, and I may or may not have, but
So can I share what I heard in Chris's revision was what I wrote down because Chris was making the motion.
Okay.
To support sending a draft letter in support of the ARP ESSER grant drafted by board member Rhea Klein. That's what I heard.
That's fine. That's not what I heard. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I heard pieces of what Andrew said, and then I wrote down verbatim what Chris said because I only
Okay.
got pieces of Andrew's.
That's
And
very
it was
good.
Chris
Okay.
making the motion.
If it's helpful, I could certainly restate the motion if you feel it needs to be clarified.
No, I mean, if that's the motion that's being recorded, that's what I was on. That's what I was expecting it to be. So I'm fine.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think he said so moved or that kind of language that we often say. I think then therefore the motion was the words that Chris said, not whatever incoherent babbling in and out I might have been saying. So Scott, you are in favor of the letter?
Yes.
I mean, we'll vote on it, but do you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
No.
I imagine Rhea is in support of her own letter.
Yes.
Okay. I also am in support of the letter. And as a commentary on any of the other goings on, I would say that I am not going to spend too much mental energy on what is going to be occurring in September. If anything in the last year has taught us is that it's impossible to plan 2 months ahead. So we have to have a plan. We have come up with a plan, and the plan is consistent with what our current guidance is. So therefore, I am okay with this letter of support at this time.
Excuse me.
So is there anyone else who would like to make a comment on this, or?
I would just, Andrew, this is Rhea.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say that it's not my letter. I wrote it on behalf of the board because it had been discussed at the previous meeting, and so I put it to the board, you know, because I just did the work. that part of it. It wasn't that it's my big idea or anything like that. So I don't want people to think it's my letter. Okay, it's our letter.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
The
okay.
letter composed by Rita is the wording issue. I'm just trying to have words reach you through my stupid connection. So, anyway, and
Andrew,
all in
turn
agreement
off your,
anyway.
turn off your screen again.
Is there
You're getting,
anyone else who would like to make comment? Okay. All those in favor of the motion to support the letter that speaks about the grant, please say aye.
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 I,
Is there
I was
anyone
sorry, I
who-
was muted.
Oh. Is there anyone who is opposed or would like to abstain? I believe that passes. Where are we now? We're on the 2021 and 2022 budget update.
correct, thank you. The budget referendum was held on June 15th, I think as everybody is aware, and it did not pass. The Board of Finance met on Thursday evening, June 17th, and I did attend that meeting along with Board Member Scott Rich. And the Board of Education's budget was reduced by an additional $65,000 after a great deal of discussion by the Board of Finance. That brings the Board of Education's total reduction to next year's budget to $229,499. The second budget referendum will be held on Tuesday, June 29th, which is next week. And we'll talk about the next meeting, talk about budget under future business.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be something we have to stay tuned for, and hopefully will be passed in the next referendum. We do have new business, I should say, resignations.
Yes, we have a few this evening. BCS paraprofessionals Amanda Gallagher and Kelly Wiles have resigned, and we thank them for their service this past year. And I would also like to notify the board that Bolton High School social studies teacher Alexis Noheimer has resigned and is taking a job much closer to home. She has 3 little ones and is now going to be 5 to 10 minutes away from home instead of over an hour. But she is going to be greatly missed, and she was a great addition to Bolton High School, and we wish her well and much success in her new position. That is it for tonight.
Thank you very much. We have some future business.
We do.
And that is that we're going to have a meeting.
So I'm requesting that the board add a July 15th meeting to the budget, or to the board's meeting calendar. The one item will be budget that evening. And I guess I would offer that if the referendum doesn't pass on the 29th, I don't know. I don't know what the next date is to be set. I believe that the Board of Selectmen has to set that date. And I
believe they have already set the next 2, if
okay.
Well, they've set dates if necessary for 2 more, and I believe that it is the 13th and 27th of July.
Okay. All right, so hopefully we'll be good to go on the 15th. We'll go with that. So we'll need a motion to add that to the board's calendar.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Sue?
Anyone who wants to discuss the additional meeting or ask questions about it? Pretty straightforward. We're just going to need to make some budget adjustments. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstaining? We have a July 15th meeting, and that concludes our normal portion of our meeting, and I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss the superintendent's evaluation. And are we inviting the superintendent?
Initially, yes, please.
Okay, and to initially invite the superintendent.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? All those in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining? Thank you, everyone.
Recording.